Age 40 does not need to be the end of your strength training career. Even after you turn 40, you can continue to get stronger, you can continue to get more powerful and more athletic, and you can continue to feel great and crush your kids on everything from the basketball court and in the gym, as long as you're thoughtful about your training. So here's what happens to a lot of people. They are 35, they're 36, they're 37, training is going fine. All of a sudden, on your 40th birthday, something about that number freaks you out. All of a sudden, you think that your training needs to change and you think you're on the downswing in terms of athleticism. It doesn't need to be that way. We do need to respect certain things about our bodies. Our testosterone levels may be going down, our tendon and ligament vascularity may be diminishing, and our ability to recover is changing. We've got to respect those things. But if we do that, and if we're careful of a couple of training mistakes, we can continue to be super strong, still set maxes even as we're aging, and continue to really look the part, feel the part, and move the part. You just want to avoid 4 key mistakes, and the truth is, even if you're under age 40, we can learn from these mistakes and we can think about these in our training. It's going to protect us once we get to age 40, and it's going to keep us strong for a really, really long time. Mistake number 1, you are ditching your explosive movements. So here's what happens very, very easily when we get older. It gets really, really easy to slip into a pattern of, say, 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps, and we focus on this idea of time under tension, which is really, really important when it comes to building strength and muscle. The one thing we want to understand as we age, period, is we can continue building muscle and strength into our 40s and beyond. But what we can't do, and what diminishes very quickly, is power. If we're over 40 and we're not training our ability to be explosive and be powerful and be sudden, we're gonna lose that very, very quickly because that response just diminishes very, very quickly. So we wanna make sure to keep some aspects of explosive training in our workouts after 40. It doesn't need to be complicated, and it doesn't need to be a lot, because you are older and you don't need to pound your body doing power cleans and hang cleans and box jumps and trying to set records in those movements. What you do need to do is just have a little element of power in there. So all you need to do, think about doing kettlebell swings at 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Get those in 3 times a week. Make sure you're leading your workout off with that. The kettlebell swing is going to force you to create a whole ton of total body power, and it's a move that has to happen fast. So let's get that in our routine. You can also get other different versions of power training in your routine if you want. You can think about doing light reps on the bench press. Think about being very forceful on your reps. Think about doing that for 3 sets of 3 to 5 reps. Do that on a couple of your big exercises. Think about bench presses, squats, deadlifts, and you're just focusing on power, just focusing on being sudden, keeping the reps very low. You don't need to go heavy. I just want you to move fast. Mistake number 2 in your over 40 training, you are training too heavy. So here's the thing, it is really great when you're 25, 30 to go chase some max bench press numbers, go chase your max squat, and think about what your 1 rep max is. That ceases to matter once you get to a certain age. It's just not worth it, and that's because all of that heavy lifting, no matter how you're doing it, is putting this great pounding on your body. Your joints have to take a lot of strain when you're under your 1 rep max bench press, and we don't need to go there in order to build strength and build muscle. We can train very comfortably within, say, 6 to 8 reps or 8 to 10 reps, and we can still get a lot of time under tension. You can still move load there, but the lighter loads, your joints are gonna thank you in the long term. So don't ever think about your 1 rep max. Don't worry about that once you're over 40. You know you're strong. You've proved that for years in the gym. Focus on continuing to build and maintain that strength by training in a good 6 to 8 rep range, 8 to 10 rep range. We can also go a little bit higher than that, and let's spare our joints and just focus on getting that really, really good feeling in our muscles. Mistake number 3, you're not doing enough isolation work. So here's the thing with most of our training leading up to age 40, it gets very convenient to focus on our multi-joint lifts. There's nothing wrong with that either, because those multi-joint lifts are letting us lift really heavy and they're letting us get strong. We want to keep those in our routine beyond age 40, but we also want to integrate some isolation lifts. You want to think about doing, say, 2 multi-joint moves within your workout, because those are going to be the moves that are going to let you establish some power, and they're going to be a chance to move load, even if we are focusing on moving lighter loads than we had before. But then you want to think about doing 2 isolation moves in every workout that complement those multi-joint moves. The key thing and the great thing about the isolation moves over 40 is we're only using 1 muscle group, and because of that, because we're isolating 1 or 2 muscle groups, we're gonna have to use a lot lighter weight. This is your chance in your workout workout to pile up some volume, and we need that volume because we're pulling back on the loads over age 40. We're gonna need that volume so we can create the muscle damage that's gonna help us grow, it's gonna help us hypertrophy our muscles, and it's gonna help us gain strength. So you wanna think about doing 3 sets of 2 isolation moves at the end of most of your workouts. Aim for moves that are gonna complement the multi-joint moves that you've done earlier in the workout. So if we've done, say, squats and lunges for our legs, let's get on the leg extension, let's maybe get on the leg curl. If we've done pull-ups and rows for our back, let's think about doing preacher curls, and let's think about doing standing curls. Those are great complements. If you've done, say, overhead presses and chest presses, let's think about going to triceps press downs, a really great isolation move that's really gonna be easy on your elbows, and maybe a skull crusher. But get those isolation moves into your workouts. You can hit them at high reps. They're gonna help you pile up volume without crushing your body and without crushing your joints. Mistake number 4, you're not doing enough cardio. So it gets really, really convenient when we're over 40 to focus on strength training because we know we've got to continue to build muscle and strength, and we've heard that so many times. And what we forget in that process when we go in and we just hit the weights and we do our push-ups and we do our abs is we're not really going to challenge our aerobic energy system. And that is a very critical energy system. It's gonna have a lot to do with our longevity, it's gonna have a lot to do with our heart health, and it's also gonna take into account another thing. When you're over 40, your metabolism is naturally gonna be slowing down, and so we've gotta be able to make up that calorie burn somewhere. It's not necessarily gonna come when we're doing our strength sets, when we're taking 60 to 90 seconds between sets, so we wanna make sure we're doing something that's gonna elevate our heart rate in a continuous fashion. You don't need to do this for long, and there are multiple ways that we can attack it. The 2 ways I want you to think about it: 1, at the very end of your workout, you can just think about getting, say, 6 to 8 minutes of cardio. You can keep this very simple. You can get onto a treadmill, you can get on a rower, you can get on a bike, and just work at a relatively consistent pace. Think about trying to push a little bit. You can also incorporate a little bit of interval training into that too to jazz things up. Think about going, say, 30 seconds hard, then 30 seconds pull back. Doing that for 6 to 8 minutes, just 2 to 3 times a week is all you need. You can also obviously go out for a dedicated run if you want, or we can start to pick up the pace in our workouts, especially on the back end when we're doing those isolation moves. So when you're on your multi-joint moves early in your workouts, you're thinking power, when we're doing our bench presses and our squats, etc., you're gonna be taking your longer rest periods. You're gonna want 60, 90, 120 seconds of rest between that. If you wanna get a little bit of cardio effect into your strength training because you're tight on time, let's really pick up the tempo on the back end of our strength workouts. Think about taking, say, 20 to 30 seconds of rest, and that's it on the last, say, 4 to 6 sets of your workout. That's gonna push you into that cardio zone, and it's gonna force you to keep the tempo up. And we need some of that high tempo in our lives after 40. The big takeaway from all of this is that you can continue to build muscle, build strength, and be ultra jacked into your 40s and 50s and beyond. And it starts with that strength training base. Now, there's a lot of stuff when you were under 40 that you could skip. You can't skip that anymore. As long as you don't skip it, you're still gonna continue to move towards your goals. So avoid those mistakes, and let's keep those gains happening.